Okay, so let's go ahead and go to this next problem. Okay, so now let's look at the question. Now keep in mind the equation. So how many milliliters? So again, milliliters. So milliliters, again, it means volume. Okay, now I suggest you write this down. I suggest it does help a lot more when you write it down. Okay, but it's up to you, but I suggest you write it down. So V for volume equals milliliters. So every time you see milliliters, that means it's volume. Okay, whenever you see a big capital M, that's molarity, which is the concentration of that solution or substance. Okay, so how many milliliters? So right off the bat, right here, this is your volume. Now I don't know yet because I haven't finished reading it, if it's a base or an acid. Okay, so but I know for sure they don't have a number, so that means this is my unknown. So your unknown is the one that you need to isolate. Very important. That's the one you need to isolate. Okay, so anyways, let's continue. So milliliters of what? Is it an acid or a base? Acid or a base. So that's what you're getting to. So it's of 2.5 molarity of hydrochloric acid. Even though I don't have acid in there, just by having that H right here in the front, that means acids have that H. Okay, so that's how you can tell from an acid to a base. Okay, so anyways, so this is the molarity of the acid. Okay, and then obviously because of this volume, so that's the volume of this acid, of an acid. Okay, and usually they're together. Usually when they're talking about the word problem, they usually have them right next to each other. Okay, so are needed to neutralize 32.0 milliliters. So since we already use the acids in here, obviously it's going to be one of the bases here. And obviously, since it's milliliters, it's volume base. So this is right here will be my volume base. And it says of a 3.2 molarity of sodium hydroxide. Now again, OH, its bases have that OH. So that's how you can tell it's a base. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put the molarity of the base. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the setting it up first. Let's set up the equation. Okay, so this is the formula. So it would be, again, you would just set up everything just the way it looks in the formula. So first thing first is M base. So where's my M base? My M base is right here. It's 3.2. So it would be 3.2 molarity. You multiply it by the V base, which is 32.0 milliliters. Okay? And then this will equal to the M acid, which is this one, which is 2.5 molarity. And then this is times the V acid, which is, we don't know it. We don't know yet what it is. So we will just put V acid. Usually this is representing a symbol, a letter, because we don't know it. Okay, now this is the one we need to isolate by itself on the one side of the equal sign. It doesn't matter what side, but we want to isolate. We want to make sure that on this side, the acid is by itself. But you see who's next to it? Okay, it's 2.5. So we need to move the 2.5. We need to move it to the other side. How do you move it? Again, you do the opposite. Okay, since you're multiplying, the opposite of multiplying will be division. Okay, division, and then of course that will be the 2.5 that you want to move So you divide that number. Okay, so you do the same thing to the other side, 2.5. Okay, you gotta do the same thing to the other side. Okay, so again, the rules is to do the opposite. If you're multiplying, you divide. If you were adding in the formula, if there was an adding, then you would subtract. If it was subtracting, then you would add. But on this situation, you see how it's multiplying, then you do the opposite, division. Okay, then that you divide it. You divide the number that you need to move, and then you do the same thing to the other side, and then you cancel. You gotta cancel. Think about it. 2.5, 2.5 is 1. Okay, so so let's go to the next one. Now my B acid is by itself. Okay, so now we're gonna go, and I know I put a calculator there in your each of the problems, so it will be 3.2 times 32. It will be 102.4 divided by 2.5 molarity. Okay, so 102.4 divided by 2.5, that will be 40.96. So my volume will be 40.96. Now we have this in milliliters. Okay, so or it doesn't matter, you could always say B acid equals 40.96 milliliters. And that is a fact. B acid.